Hey everybody, we're back. I'm hoping lights off will make it a little bit easier to see. Again, I've posted our Fam 5 for the week on Facebook. It's probably a lot easier for you to follow along with that sheet as you watch the video. Like I tell the kids, you know, watch as needed. If they're really comfortable with certain questions, skip it. Um, if there are things that are really tripping them up, not only should we watch, maybe we can watch and come up with some questions on our own that are similar to help them practice. I've been encouraging them, try to bring home your Fan 5 notebook every day. And parents, ask, are you taking good notes? Let me see how you solve this one. Anything that's going to help them on their quiz on Friday. And maybe I'm a little naive, I am. But on Friday, we had the second best quiz average that we've had all year on Fam 5. And the first one was our very first week of Fam 5. And those were questions that were far less challenging than what they're doing now. So, our 5 questions for this week, it's a lot of pre teaching. Some of the stuff we've done before. My homeroom's already done it, had pretty solid numbers for a Monday. So, hopefully, we can use this to kind of help us prepare. So, starting with number one, we've got another long division question. They do have answer choices, but this is something they're going to see down the road. It's called interpreting remainders because we know not every number is divisible or at least evenly. So sometimes they're going to have to determine what their answer is going to be, and it's always going to be dependent on what the question's asking. So when we're looking at number one, it says Charlie got 87 Legos for Christmas. He's going to organize them into equal boxes of 6. We talked about how those words are kind of clues that we're going to be doing some division. And it wants to know how many Legos will not fit into a box. There is a way you can use your answer choices to kind of help you out here. Um, I'm always going to show them just to start. I'm showing them the long division and how they need to be looking at their work. So we are getting a lot better with this. So we're going to go 87 divided by 6. Always put our steps out here to the side. And I'll go through this a little quickly just because last week's video, we got some long division in there as well. So we start with our division. I know 6 can go into 8 once. We always put that number at the top because that's the number I'm going to multiply by. 6 times that 1 is 6. Put it underneath the number we're dividing into because that's when we're going to subtract. And then 8 minus 6 gives us 2. Got to restart the process because I am able to bring a number down. 7 comes all the way to the bottom, and we're back to the top. Back to division. I'm trying to figure out how many times 6 can go into 27. It does not go in evenly. My only rule is I can't go over. I know the closest I can get is it goes in 4 times. Put that number at the top. Multiply times that 4. 6 times 4 is 24. And then we are going to subtract. And that's going to leave me with 3. Same thing I tell your kids every week. We are done when there's nothing left to be brought down, which in this case, we've used every number. Most people who missed it this morning, they chose 14 as the answer. Makes sense, sitting up there at the top. But if you were to multiply 14 times 6, that doesn't give you 87. And that's why in this case, we did not end at 0. So they learned today that we call that a remainder. And if this was just a straight up math question, your answer, your quotient would be 14 remainder 3. 14 remainder 3 is not an answer choice because logically it's not something that we would say. So if I'm saying, hey, how many Legos did you have left over? How many Legos did you have that didn't fit in a box? Charlie wouldn't say 14 remainder 3. In this case, if we're looking at would not fit into a box, that's when we would use the remainder as our answer, and it would be 3. I also told him I could use this exact same question, or not the exact same, I can use the exact same numbers and just change the question a little bit to make the answer 14. I could say, how many boxes would you need, or how many full boxes would you have of Legos? And in that case, it would be 14. I could change it to where I could say, how many Legos would you need for, or how many boxes would you need for all your Legos? And in that case, it would be 15. So this week, I'm probably going to stick with, hey, the answer is going to be your remainder, but you're going to have to be able to do the long division to find it. We'll see how long I keep the answer choices because there is a way where you can kind of quickly multiply to figure out what your remainder would be. But I really want them to be able to do long division. Like I said, it's getting better, and it's repetition and practice. it's already at a spot where I'm like, dang, we're not supposed to do this until after Christmas, and we already got half our kids that can do it like no problem. That's good. So we're moving in the right direction. Um, one was our lowest today. Actually, it was a tie for the lowest, 1 in 5, and it should have been. What's happening? Now I told them 2, 3, and 4 should have been pretty good, just because number 4, that's spiral review from last year, but 2 and 3 we've done this year, even though it's something we weren't supposed to have done yet. It hasn't come across in the curriculum yet, but we've done it in Fam 5, or at least we've done similar. Number 2 says Mr. Huber ate 12 pieces of fudge. He had 2 pieces Monday, 1 piece Wednesday, and the rest over the weekend. What fraction of his fudge did he eat over the weekend? Got to do good math. You got to read. I'm a very visual person, especially when I'm doing a fractions question and it doesn't give me one. So I would draw my 12 pieces of fudge. And there's 1,000 different ways you could draw this picture. This is the fastest for me. And then I'm literally just going to label what it says. I ate 2 pieces Monday. This is Monday. This is Monday. 1 piece Wednesday. This is Wednesday. Rest of it over the weekend. I just put R to represent the rest. So here's where the reading really comes in handy. I've got to be able to come up with a fraction based off of that picture. Denominator should be the easy part. We always get that from the total. We got 12 pieces of fudge. I know that's my denominator. Numerator depends on what the question's asking. If I want to know about the fudge I ate over the weekend, I'm just looking at my picture. I don't care about Monday and Wednesday. I'm looking at these right here. And when I count those pieces of fudge, that gives me 9. Here's where children tend to panic. Like they could be super confident in their answer and they can know that 9/12 is right. And we always get the hand up, hey, Mr. Huber, you made a mistake on that one. And sometimes that happens. But in this case, we got to go an extra step. I always tell them, don't panic, because there's going to be people who choose A just because there's a 12 in it. There's going to be people who choose D because 9 is a numerator. We've got to get into the habit of remembering, if I know that 9/12 is correct, that means one of these fractions could be equivalent. It might look completely different, but it's going to represent the same amount. So if I take 9/12 and I compare it to each of these answer choices, I should find one that's equal. So just to save time, I'm going to put 9/12 next to B, which was the answer, 3/4. And when we cross multiply, it sounds exactly like what it is. I'm putting a big multiplication sign here in the middle, and I'm multiplying denominator times numerator. So 12 times 3 would be 36. 4 times 9 would be 36. And although they look different, like I said, they represent the same amount. So sometimes we're just going to get a fraction. And I tell them all the time, if 9/12 is an answer choice, choose it and move on. If you don't see it and you feel confident in it, cross multiply. Now, if you cross multiply and you don't find one that's equivalent, then that might be on us. We might have made a mistake. And that's when I always tell them, start fresh. Erase all your work, try again. So that one would have been B. Moving on. 3 and 4 were our 2 best. 3 was actually the best. It says, Armani decided she's going to start saving up her money to buy a new phone. She's going to save $15 each day in January. If there are 31 days in the month, how much money will she have? We know when we see the word each, we could be multiplying, we could be dividing. If it gives you answer choices, use them. If the number's getting bigger, we're multiplying. If it's getting smaller, we're dividing. In this case, we know we're doing 2 by 2 multiplication. So I went back and looked. This is now our 4th straight week of having 2 by 2 multiplication in Fam 5. So we've done this 20 straight school days. My expectation is that this number would be really, really high. It was 12 out of 17, which is not bad. But again, this is one where I think we should be able to go 17 out of 17 because I feel very confident that your children know their facts. Last week, I showed you the area model. This week, I'm just going to show you the standard algorithm, stack them up, multiply. So we've got 15 times 31. Always start in the ones place. I always tell them if it helps, close one eye, put a thumb up, and act like that 3 is not even there. So it looks like 15 times 1. But we multiply in the same order. We go times the ones place times the tens place. 1 times 5 is 5. 1 times 1 is 1. Now, when I'm done multiplying by the ones place, I always just exit out. I'm not going to use it again. And there are times where I have to carry a number over. If that's the case, I would get rid of that too, so I don't get confused. Now I'm going to multiply by the number that's in the tens place. Here's where I notice sometimes people make mistakes with the standard way. Before you multiply, you have to come down and you have to add a placeholder. We're going to put a 0 right here underneath the 5. And the way I told them to remember, when we're multiplying by the tens place, I want your first number to go down here in the tens place. So then we can start. We can go across in the same order. Times the ones, times the tens. 3 times 5 is 15. 5 stays, 1 goes. 3 times 1 is 3 plus 1 is 4. Once you have those two numbers, you're going to add them up to find your final answer. 5 plus 0 is 5. 5 plus 1 is 6. Bring down that 4, and it gave us $465. This is one of those questions where I tell them, if you're going to get it right, I hope you get it right twice. If you're going to miss it, I hope you miss it twice. If you're stacking it like this, it doesn't take you as long, so you've got plenty of time to double check that. The only thing that bothered me this morning, I had actually multiple people who chose 456, and they said, hey, I had the right answer, but I circled the wrong one. Well, that means we're not double checking. And the people who make the EOG, they are evil. They try to give you answer choices that look similar. Like they get paid to try to trick you. Don't let them. So that's a big effort thing for me. You've got to double check and make sure your answers match what you're circling. I would love, love, love for us to Ric Flair that one by the end of the week. If they haven't told you about Ric Flair in a question, don't just ask them. Have them show you. All right, number 4 was another really good one. Why are you doing this? Antonio enjoyed his 12-day vacation. Each day he ate 4 packs of Skittles. If he started vacation with 132 packs of Skittles, how many picks does he have remaining? So we've got multiple keywords here. We've got the word each, again, could be multiplying, could be dividing. We've got the word remaining, or in other words, what's left. When we see remaining and we see left, we know we're going to do some subtraction. So we've got multiple steps we have to do here. When I'm looking at that each, it's going with the first 2 sentences. It's with 12 and 4. And I tell them to look at their answer choices, see if the numbers are getting bigger or smaller. Well, they're getting bigger, so I know I'm going to multiply. Even if you didn't know, you can give yourself a visual. Like, give yourself 12 days. You don't have to draw them all, but I think you could start and say, hey, for this day, for this day, for this day, for this day. You know you could add them all together, but repeated addition is the same thing as multiplying. So I'm going to start with that. I would go 12 times 4, which I fully expect them to be able to do that quick. I don't want them to have to stack it or do repeated addition. That one we should know. 12 times 4 is 48. And I'm big on this. I always ask, hey, what is that 48? What does that 48 represent? In this case, that's how many packs of Skittles Antonio ate on vacation. So if I keep reading, he started with 132 packs. If I want to know what he's got left, I'm going to get rid of the ones that he ate. So we're going to go 132 minus 48. Can't do the ones place. I've got more on the floor. So I'm going to go next door, get 10 more. 3 is going to change to 2. This 2 is now going to be 12. 12 minus 8 gives me 4. In my tens place, again, I cannot do it. I've got more on the floor. Go next door. 1 is now gone. It's 0. This 2 right here is 12. And then if I did 12 minus 4, that would give me 8. When it's asking how many packs of Skittles he has remaining, that answer would be 84. So I love when they take notes. I think it's really important. The one thing I caution them with is just because we subtracted and multiplied today doesn't mean tomorrow just look at your notes and say, oh, I'm going to subtract and multiply the next day. It's going to be a 2-step problem. You've got to use keywords to figure out what you're doing. And I also told them this. I don't know if I'm going to allow them to use their notes this Friday on their quiz. So it makes this video and any extra practice at home that much more important. I'm undecided on that. So just know that's a possibility. So just a 2-step problem all week for number 4. And look, number 5, we had never done before. So I didn't really have the highest of expectations. The good thing is what I told them, if they see it once, they'll probably get it right tomorrow. So we've never added fractions. That's something we'll get to. But we're just going 1/6 plus 1, or I'm sorry, 1/6 plus 3/6. Am I in the camera? Let me maybe move right here. 1/6 plus 3/6. Most important thing I told them, when we're adding these fractions, our denominator is not going to change. Most people who missed it, they added the numerator, added the denominator, and they chose A, which is 4/12. But what I said is, if our numerators in the addition problem are 6, your first initial answer, your denominator is going to be 6. Now, there are going to be times when that changes, when we maybe have to simplify fractions. But again, we're not there yet. So when we're adding fractions, we are only adding the numerators. So denominator stays the same. If I added my numerators together, 3 plus 1 gave me 4. Now, when you look at your answer choices, this goes back to what we talked, I think it was number 2. I know that answer is 4/6. I also know I don't see it as an answer choice. Don't choose A because there's a 4 in it. Don't choose D because it has a 6 in it and it's really close. That's when we have to be able to slow down and say, okay, I know my answer's right. Let me compare and see if I can find one that's equivalent. So my expectation would be they're putting 4/6 next to A, B, C, and D. Even if the answer is A, they're going to cross multiply all of them just to make sure they didn't make a mistake, to make sure they have the right answer. Again, I'm just saving time here. If I put 4/6 next to B, 2/3, 6 times 2 gave me 12. 3 times 4 gave me 12. They look different. They represent the same amount. So that's Fan 5 for this week. Again, I think the numbers should be really good starting tomorrow because 2, 3, and 4, we've already got some experience. 5, you see it one time, you should be good. Number 1's going to take some time. That's just repetition. That's just practice. Not being in school Tuesday makes it a little bit harder. Man, if your kids are getting on your nerves and you need something for them to do, have them sit down and watch this video tomorrow. Come up with their own questions that can be similar. So they're only going to see it Monday, Wednesday. They're only going to see it 3 times before their quiz. Even then, the amount of time we're spending on this and the amount of time I allow them to ask questions and then whether or not they're taking notes, that stuff makes a big difference. So quiz on Friday. If you have questions, please ask. If there's any additional way that I can help, again, please ask. If anything, please, please, please encourage your children. Bring home those Fan 5 books every single day just to see what they're doing. Please don't look at their score and say, hey, how are you getting it? Because on Mondays, Tuesdays, you're going to see 1s and 2s. I would really like for you to put a big emphasis on, hey, let me see your notes. Let me see how you solved this question. See if it's looking like what I'm putting up here. That stuff to me is far more important. If they're doing those things, they got potential to do very well on Friday. So if you're getting anything from Fan 5, please let it be that. Let's look at their notes, praise them if they are working really, really hard. And if not, let's try to motivate them to do so. Because again, it's a big part of your grade. So thanks for watching. Hopefully it helped. Have a great rest of your week.